Hello, welcome back to Sushi Live Nodding. In this episode, I want to share with you this node tree setup that basically will generate something that looks like a stair, more or less. It's not 100% stair yet, but you will see how it's created, and maybe you can make a better setup. Okay, so here I'm taking advantage of this oscillator node once again, and let's try with the sine, and you can see something that's a bit clearer. So with a sine wave, right, it's basically gonna create a stair that looks like a wave, and it's kind of going up because originally I actually just started with a line, and this line I'm using the origin and the what is this, the final. There's the origin and this normal. This one is using the origin and the point to generate line. It's easier to actually, if I'm using fewer draw. So if I zero out the X and the Z, this is what we get, nothing. If I at least have X and the Z, you can see this is actually the thing that's kind of responsible for the stair. So let's make it like 1 and 1. So we have this, more or less this is stair, 45 degree. We can increase or decrease the number of points. You have a couple of options, either using the num or the size. So the size gives you that, but the num give you kind of like a different ways to procedurally control this stair. So this line is actually being modified by the sine oscillator. Here I'm using vector out and vector in, just so that we can combine this line into, with this vector over here, which will create this stair-like curve or shape, which then I use the extrude edges and solidify. Solidify is simply just solidifying the shape. Originally, we simply just extrude this line, and then I scale it to 0, so we have like a flat. So now that we have this like a 2D stair, I simply extrude it that way. Okay, so that's really the idea. Slightly more complicated when explained, but it's not really that complicated. It's actually quite interesting. So that's the sine wave. So if I summarize it, I started with a line that goes in an angle, and then so I have another line that's basically create a oscillator or like a wave, combine the two, and we have like a staircase. And yeah, you can play around with this amplitude, period, and phase. You can animate this. If you are animating this, you can actually export it out as Alembic as usual. We have offset. Just keep the offset higher than, it shouldn't go below, otherwise it's gonna flip like that. So just keep it above. Oh, I keep missing the mouse. Secondly, we have square. We can control the square amplitude. So maybe I have too much resolution. We have saw. This one can actually create like a common stair. So it's not 100%. Maybe we need to snap the points. If you want like a proper stair, we have then the triangle, and we have, of course, custom. So with custom, you can use the usual noise wave or your own functions. So vector noise, maybe plug this line, and this goes there. So we have this rugged line. All right. So it's a pretty simple example for stair. It's a very basic stair. It's not yet like a spiral stair, but you can actually make spiral stair. But this is again another kind of like a way you can think of generating shapes and creating 3D solid geometry. You can always add details on top of this. Like if you have a stair, you want to have the rail, things like that. And this is only like one way to create a stair. The basic, kind of like super basic one, but I think this is kind of a good example. Again, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.